Today on the podcast, 5 Steps to Monetization, plus music by Paul and Angie. Welcome to the Christian Musicpreneur Podcast, where we provide tips, tools, techniques, and resources to help you grow your ministry. I'm your host, Simone Henry, a business coach and mentor for independent Christian recording artists. I'm Simone Henry. I help independent Christian recording artists to monetize their music ministries by helping them to brand themselves and build and engage their fan bases. So that's part of what we're going to talk about today. I have been working in the music industry for a few years now. I started Eshe in 2014. I actually started working in the music industry before that. I started 2006 is when I launched my first website, the Christian Jukebox, which was a digital download store. But a lot of you will probably know me from CJB Radio. I started CJB Radio as a companion to the Christian Jukebox. And then we shut down the Christian Jukebox because there were a lot of other stores that artists were sending their fans to buy their music, and not sending them to the Christian Jukebox. So I said, well, the people who can do it best, let them do it, and we will do something else. And so we kept the radio station going for a while, and then it's only been a couple of years that we shut down the radio station. Over the years, I've learned quite a bit about how to market yourself, how to brand yourself, how to build up a fan base. And that is what I teach to independent recording artists. Why did I choose independent recording artists? Why did I choose Christian independent recording artists? I chose Christians simply because as a Christian, I feel like there is a lot of music out there. There's a lot of great music out there. However, I want to use my gifts and talents to promote Jesus, to promote the Lord. And I've always seen myself as kind of a back office support for ministers who are on the front lines. So if you are a music minister, like in your church, or you're a recording artist and you're out there pushing your CDs and your music to your fans, I always saw myself as kind of the person behind you, helping you to do that. I'm not on the front lines myself necessarily, but I've always seen that as my role, as a support, the backup for the people on the front lines. And that is, so far it's working for me. I like it. I like doing it. I did grow up singing in church, and I haven't sung much lately, which I need to correct. I was on an Instagram live with an artist and vocal coach last night, and I was asking her, how do I get my voice back if I haven't sung in a while? She said, well, start singing. That's really the best advice. Just start singing. So I need to get into the habit of turning on the music every day and singing along. And that's pretty much how I learned to sing. And I guess that's how I'm going to continue if I want to continue. Not to say that I want to be an artist and record and put CDs out. That's never been my desire. I just enjoy singing. So, and kind of want to do it mostly for my own self-satisfaction. And I really like karaoke. So I do that every so often, but I like singing. And let's see, so the stuff that I've been learning, that I have learned over the years, I want to see artists use to push and promote their music and their godly messages to help the world. I have been talking a lot to artists lately and asking them, what is it that you want out of your ministry? And most of them tell me that the thing they want the most is to be able to share their music with so many more people than are hearing it now. You know, they'll share their Facebook profiles with me, and they have a few fans on there. Not that there's much engagement, because Facebook doesn't really allow that on your fan page, and that's something I talk about in my program. But there's a few people on there, and some of them are engaged, but most people aren't. They're not really selling much. They're not making much of an income. And I believe that if you are working hard on your ministry, you are making sure you're spending money and time and effort, making sure that this thing that you're creating and you're putting out there is excellent. I've spoken to a lot of artists who say they work very hard to make sure that the production is solid. It can stand up next to Kirk Franklin and Fred Hammond. They work hard on that. They make sure that the graphics are good, the pictures that they're using are professional. And when that is all said and done, you go to the best people to do your distribution. So you make sure that it's out there, it's everywhere, people can find it, but people aren't finding it, and people aren't hearing it. And the message, especially if you're a songwriter, if you put your heart and soul into a song, you told your story, you told the story of a traumatic experience in your life, or you're really expressing praise to God and worship, and you want people to be able to use this as a tool for their own worship. But if they never hear it, then that doesn't happen. So I am here to share my techniques with you so that you can get your music out there, that more people are hearing it. And not only that, that you're actually making an income from it. You're spending a lot of money making sure that the production is right, and you're paying band members, you're paying background singers, you're paying your graphics designer, you're paying the person to build your website. You want to be able to recoup some of that investment. That's an investment in your business, paying out all these different things. That's an investment in your ministry, in your business. If you're selling your music, you're running a business. When people invest, they want to see a return. And I'm sure because you're here watching me tonight, you want to see a return on your investment. That's only logical. Logical is in my brain right now. I'm stuck on Star Trek. It's only, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. If you're making an investment, you want to see a return on that investment. So, so that's why I do what I do. I want to help. Hey, Renee, I want to help independent Christian recording artists. And one of the things that why I focus on independent artists, I started with independent artists. Really, I never really heard of independent artists really until I actually started in this business. When I first started the Christian Jukebox, I went to the big distributors to ask them for their music so I could sell it. They get their cut, I get mine. And of course, the artist gets theirs. But they wanted $200,000. And so I found some people who were working in the music industry, but they were working with artists who weren't household names. And when I got into the community and started working in the community, then I realized that this is the place to be, because the big name artists already have a lot of help and they have resources. The people who need the help are independents who don't have the big label machine behind them, pushing them to go further and faster and, get into everybody's household and everybody's, onto everybody's screens and on everybody's radio. So, so independents are the ones I feel that I can help the most with what I do. So, another reason why you might be here, you're tired of the unfulfilled promises of the music industry. I've heard a lot from artists who say they've gone to a lot of, they've gone to radio stations, they've gone to the radio promoters, they've gone to, PR people, they've gone to just different people who promise that they can make them a household name, they can make them a star. And it doesn't happen. And a lot of times they'll spend the money, but none of that happens. Well, as a matter of fact, nobody can promise you that. Nobody can promise that they will make you a household name, especially if they're not a household name themselves, simply because it's really subjective, right? Do people really like your music? Do they really like you? You won't know that until you actually put yourself out there, and nobody can really do that for you. They can take your materials, they can take your music, they can take your CD covers, your graphics, and they can share them around to all their contacts. But that's not going to make their contacts like you. That's not going to make their contacts trust you. Part of, you have to get out there yourself and share who you are and allow people to get to know you as a person, not just as an artist, as a musician, right? There's always a story behind the song. And what I see with so many artists is that they don't share that. They don't share the stories behind the song. So people don't know what it's about. Why should they care? I'm working with an artist now. He is at the stage where he's getting ready to share. He's ready to, we're working on a campaign for him to, release his next single. Well, I gave him a homework assignment to basically develop a story of the song. And what we can do is we can take that and we can chop it up and we can kind of dole it out and configure it in different ways and put it out there. If you don't share with people who you are, why you are, why are you doing this whole music thing? Then why should they care? Why should they care? So many artists are just, when they just post, I have a new single out, go buy it. I have a new single out. It's on this platform and that platform and the other platform. Well, so is everybody else's music. What's new? What's different? What's special about you and your music? That's what you need to be telling people. What is it that makes you unique? So many artists don't do that, and they end up looking like everybody else, when in reality, you're not like everybody else. You're not everybody else. So that's what needs to be shared. Who are you? What makes you so different? Why should I care? I like to say on Music Industry Makeover, everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? That's what your fans want to know. That's what your audience wants to know. What's in it for me, right? If I didn't tell you what was in it for you, you would not be here watching me on this Facebook Live tonight. If I just said, I'm going to do a Facebook Live at 7 o'clock, you should come. Well, why should you spend your precious time watching me? What's in it for you? If I don't tell you why you should come, why would you care? Why would you want to see me sit here and talk, right? Who cares what I have to say? You only care because there's something in it for you. You're getting something out of it. So that's a big thing that I teach artists, is that we really need to get to the point where we are not just focused on us and our music. Focus on your fan. Tell them what's in it for them. One of my favorite tips that I post is, don't focus so much on, you got a famous producer to produce your album, you got this great songwriter over here to write your song, you got the best drummer in the world to play your song, you got, hey Mary, you got the best, hey Janice and Cynthia, you got the best background vocals to accompany you. Your average fan is not going to care. Your average fan doesn't care one bit. They don't know the ins and outs of how to produce a song, or how to produce, music, how to put together a CD. I'm kind of one of those people. I am, you know, I've only really been in a music studio like once or twice. So for me, when you post something that says, producer so and so really went to town on the hook in this song, I'm gonna go, what in the world are you talking about? Why should I care? Right? But if you tell me something like, after you listen to this song, you are going to feel like you can walk on glass. You're going to feel that good because God has been that good to me. This testimony is going to move you that much. Well, now I'm like, well, I got to hear this song. Tell them what's in it for them. How's it going to make them feel? Hey, Renee. So another thing that artists find very difficult in the music business is having to rely on others. There is nothing wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong with hiring a radio promoter or getting radio servicing or hiring a PR person or a bio, somebody to write your bio. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, there is a problem when, hey, Bruce, there is a problem when you hire these folks and you put all of your eggs into their basket. You pay them your money, they send out your stuff, then what happens? One of the things that artists don't understand is that you may hire a radio promoter or a servicer or a PR person to put your stuff in all the magazines, all the radio stations, get you interviews on TV and radio. But when traffic starts coming to you, what do you do with it? I have heard artists, a lot of times they'll say, well, yeah, I did get a bump in traffic, but then it went down. Now what? It's kind of a dead end. Once your music gets on the station and it's playing every day for several months, how do you bring those listeners into your world? The reason the radio station keeps playing your song is because maybe they're getting good feedback. They like it, right? So if people like it, well, you want to be able to know who those people are who like your song, right? Because when the next song comes out, don't you want to reach out to those same people and say, hey, I've got a new one. You like the last one, check out the new one. So many artists, the music gets out there, it's on radio, but then nothing happens after that. the music is on, it may be on radio, they may get nominated for, you know, some indie gospel award, whatever, and the accolades are good, right? That's validation. That's people saying, hey, they like me, they really like me. Um, they like my stuff, they like my music. And you may even win an award. But then what? What happens after that? See, these are things you don't want them to be a dead end for you. You want those things to not be the be all and end all of your music ministry. You want those things to be the icing on the cake because you have so much substance and so much going on in your music business that those things are icing. They just drive even more traffic than you're already getting, right? Or you want for the attention that you get from those things to actually continue. So this is something that a lot of artists don't, they're not really getting really from their music ministry, and they're chasing the radio stations and they're chasing the awards. And you know, people might be saying, hey, your music is great, you deserve an award, here you go, here's that lovely statue. But then what happens, right? So what I like to help artists do is to monetize their music ministries. I am all about freedom. That's one of the reasons why I named this group Christian Recording Artists Seeking Freedom. I'm about freedom. I'm not about depending on other people for what I want in my business, right? If I want money coming in, well, I need to figure out a way to be able to sell without having to depend on somebody else, right? I have been wanting to speak for a while at different events. And it finally dawned on me, you know what? There are tools out there where I can speak to people, to my audience, without having to rely on somebody to ask me to come and speak on their stage. There is this wonderful platform called Facebook where there are 2 billion people hanging out every day. Of course, I'm not going to get 2 billion people coming to my page, and I don't want 2 billion people. I want the right people coming to my page. And I can sit here and I can talk to them, directly to them, without anybody else filtering out what I'm saying, without, you know, some moderator saying, oh, that's nice for those people, but not right for y'all, or, you know, it's the same with you as an artist. A lot of you are disappointed and unhappy that radio is not playing your music. You're submitting and you're submitting and you're submitting and nobody is picking it up, and you're discouraged and you're feeling like, well, they're playing the same songs all the time. Why don't they give somebody new a chance? Well, I'm here to give you the good news. You don't have to rely on the stations for people to hear your music. There's this great platform called Facebook where people can hear your music, and you don't have to wait for somebody to say, oh, I like this. This is really good. Who cares what the tastemakers and the gatekeepers say? That's what I call them, the radio DJs and stuff. I call them gatekeepers because they are, right? You have to get through their gate to get to the people, to their listeners, right? And they own their platforms. What I want you to do is to own your own platform, to take your music directly to your ideal fans. A lot of people say, you know, when you're determining who your fan is, you know, you should look at the demographics. And that's true. You should look at demographics, but demographics aren't everything. And what I mean by demographics, I mean, like biological information, age, sex, race, where people live, that kind of thing. But there's nothing that says all Black women who live in Atlanta, Georgia, between the ages of 25 and 35 believe the same thing. So I like to talk about psychographics. Why not go after the people who believe what you believe, who want to hear what you have to say? And it can be Black women who live in Atlanta who are between the ages of 25 and 35. That could be a main group that you reach, but who knows? Maybe what you're saying is also reaching out to some older white guy or some young Indian guy. Or a white chick who has lots of Black friends. You just don't know. It's when you talk about what you believe, that's part of your branding. So when you monetize, sorry, I'm jumping back to the monetization. Okay. So when you monetize, there are benefits. Why? Because probably most of you are sustaining your music ministry with the income from your 9 to 5. Well, wouldn't you like to not have to make a choice between, stuff like being able to produce your next single or produce your next album and sending your kids to piano lessons? Wouldn't you like to be able to not have to make a choice between taking a tour? Say you're a teacher and you have summers off and you want to tour the East Coast. Well, if you're using the money from your day job and that's all the money that's coming into your ministry, you probably have less money to be able to take the tour because you're paying bills. You've got rent, mortgage, you've got car note, you've got other things. There's other things, right? Whereas when your ministry has money coming into it for the ministry, right? It's a standalone business. Well, now your mortgage is covered because you've got the day job, right? You can afford the mortgage, that's fine. But you can also do that tour that you've been wanting to do. You can buy a new van that you can take the tour in. You've got some great stops along the way that you've been wanting to do. Hey, David, when you have that income coming in from your ministry, now your ministry is able to sustain itself. I speak from experience. It is a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling when, like my big thing right now that I'm working on in my personal finances is saving an emergency fund, a nice, healthy emergency fund, and getting out of debt. So when my business is making its own money, it's not in my pockets anymore. I like to say my baby's not in my pockets anymore. When my baby's not in my pockets anymore, now my income from the day job, I can actually save some money. There's like extra, there's leftover. This is a great thing, which means I can accelerate those goals I have of paying off my debt and saving that emergency fund. That accelerates the process. It's a wonderful feeling. And it also helps you to reach your goal of reaching more people, right? That's what most artists tell me. They want to reach more people, right? You're spending a lot of time and hard work and energy putting out this great music. People need to hear it, but they can't hear it if you don't have the money to do the marketing or to learn how to market yourself. And so nobody really hears it except for your original super fans, your mom and your auntie and your cousins, you know, and them. And eventually that they kind of run out. You want to have new people, people who've never met you before. You want to have some new energy in your ministry. And that's a wonderful thing to have happen. Okay, my 5 steps, right? I haven't gone through my 5 steps. I've touched on them a little bit. Okay, first step, this is how I work with people. I first do a branding boot camp. And in my branding boot camp, I teach you how to brand yourself in a way that's not just about your logo, your colors, what you wear. Remember when I was talking about psychographics? It's also about your message. When you know how to describe yourself and you know how to hone your message and talk directly to people about what your overall message is, what your guiding principle is, then people will flock to you based on not your logo, that's just an image, but based on who you are as a person, as a musician, as an artist. And that's what you want. So I help people to hone their message and to learn how to describe themselves in such a way that it makes it easy for people to figure out if you're the artist for them. Hey, Glenn, how are you? It's been a while. Well, hopefully a lot of people will watch this on the replay. And of course, you know, I don't do this very, very often. I do need to do it more often. Maybe the next one will be, I do want to do one on monetizing online concerts because, well, most of us are stuck indoors, and monetizing online concerts, I think, is relevant right now. Okay, so that's my first step. The first step is the branding boot camp. Then we do a branding audit. And when I say audit, it's it's not as painful as an IRS audit. It's looking at the assets that you have and seeing where the gaps are, right? So we have a way to describe you. We know what your main message is. So now we need to look at your presence online, on paper, physically, you know. We look at these things and we see, do they match the message that you want to portray, right? I always tell this story. I don't know if you've never heard it. So I was at this conference, hey, Ron, and we were doing a showcase, and at the showcase, this lady walked up front and she was about to sing a song. And from looking at her, she looked like, hey, Van, she looked like what do you call it? She looked like a traditional gospel artist, you know. She looked like somebody from, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm not big into traditional music, but you know, the 70s, the 80s. She kind of looked like she would sing something like a Shirley Caesar type of deal, right? That's what she looked like. And then the music started. And from the music, you know, from the intro didn't match what she looked like. And then she started singing, and then she really didn't sound like what she looked like. She sounded more like a neo soul artist. She sounded kind of like a Jill Scott, you know, like India Arie, you know, kind of like that. And you know, it's like if you close your eyes, you're hearing this kind of a young, hip, Afrocentric artist. But when you open your eyes, what you're looking at is this church lady, basically. I mean, that's that's the impression I got. So she had a sound, but the look didn't match the sound. So that's part of the branding as well. It's like, you know, does it all come together? Does it all match? Right? A lot of people say, you know, when they talk about their branding, they talk about their logo. Um, from my logo, you probably can't really tell much about my business. It's just an E, really. It doesn't. The E stands for Eshe, and that's it. Um, but that doesn't really tell you anything. But when I put, you know, I've changed, and I'm going to be changing the banner for this group as well. When I choose the name of my group, when I change the banner of my Facebook page, what I talk about in my posts, that is my branding. And then everything else is, you know, comes kind of your imaging and that kind of stuff just is a reflection of what your main message is. Right? So that is the branding audit. We go through, we make sure that what people will see matches you, how you describe yourself, what your message is. Okay. Then I help you build your infrastructure for marketing and selling. Guess what? If you are an indie artist and you have music for sale, you're a marketer. You're a salesman. Oh, I know those are bad words. People don't like those words. We are Christians and we're not supposed to be selling, but we do. Because if you don't market yourself, if you don't market your music, how will people know that it's available for them? Marketing is a very good thing. And it not only helps you in your wallet, it also helps the people who hear it and see it and buy it. Because if they never get it in their hands, if they never get the music in their ears, how is it supposed to help them? And they can't get it in their hands and their ears unless you market it to them, unless you tell them, hey, I've got this great thing available and you should listen to it. It's, you know, remember, WIIFM, tell them what's in it for them, right? If you never tell them, then it's never going to help them. So I help you to build your infrastructure. And when I say build your infrastructure, I mean set things in place that make it easy for people to buy your stuff and to find you and to listen to it, add it to their playlists, all that good stuff, right? Because as you're marketing, you're going to have more people coming to you. And then when more people are coming into your world, they're visiting your places online, they're visiting your Facebook page, and they're visiting your website. So when they get there, you want it to be easy for them, right? I was talking to an artist the other day and looking at his website, and I was saying, well, if you're pushing this particular album or this particular song, where's the link? I see the cover. This is wonderful. Where can I listen? Where can I buy? Right? Make it easy for me. So I go through those things with you as an artist. Engaging your audience. What are you talking about? It's part of that whole psychographics thing, branding stuff. You know, what is it? What is your overarching message to the world, right? What do you believe in? Talk to people about that. Let them get to know you. Tell them something about your life, right? I just had an analogy in my head a little while ago. Talk to them like they're your friends, right? You never just walk up to your friends and say, hey, I just put out a new song, buy it. You never do that with your friends. You chit chat with your friends. You say hi to them. You find out what's going on in their life and you tell them what's going on in your life. This is how we build relationships. This is how we get to know each other. Well, it's the same thing with your fan base. Get to know them and allow them to get to know you. And when I say talk to them as friends, you don't have to talk to them as though you're close friends, right? Even Jesus had an inner circle, right? He had the top 12 because he had like a lot more people following him all the time. And then he had top 12. And out of those 12, he had 3. And out of those 3, there was one that was best friend, right? So our relationships go in degrees. Everybody doesn't have the same relationship with us, right? I'm not going to tell you the same things I tell my sister. But I still count you as a friend. So talk to people like they're your friends and share stuff with them. That's how they'll get to know you. And when they get to know you, build up. You've heard me say this a couple of times, know, like, and trust. The more they get to know you, the more they like you, the more they trust you. And guess what? People buy from the people they like, right? So I help you to build up KLT, know, like, and trust. That's what the engaging the audience is about. And then the 5th step is make sales. Make it easy for people to buy from you. These people who are your new friends, who are your super fans, who you've built KLT with, you want to sell to them. That's part of the monetization process, making sales. And in order to make sales, you have to ask, right? And you know how I always say, all your posts shouldn't be buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. But every so often, you need to say, buy my stuff. That's how else are they going to know if you have something for sale that you want them to buy, right? So you do have to ask them, just don't ask all the time, right? So we talk about that. If you are loving this content and you want to work with me to help your ministry move forward, then schedule a call with me now at eshemusic.com/MMA. That's ECHEmusic.com/MMA. I'm looking forward to talking with you.
We are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, 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 going to see the King. No more crying there. We are going to see the King. No more crying there. We are going to see the King. No more crying there. We are going to see the King. Hallelujah, 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 going to see the King. We going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, 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 going to see the King.
Thanks for listening to the Christian Musicpreneur podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean a lot to me if you would like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Feel free to share your takeaways in the comment section below and join my free Facebook group, Christian Recording Artists Seeking Freedom. See you next time, and remember to take action and never give up.